event that we will decide that their candidate, that the election period should be moved to first week of October, all the bans as provided in the Omnibus Election Code will now take effect.
TV, movie, and other celebrities are going to be running, it's likely that they will have TV shows and similar programs. Can they still continue hosting said shows and similar programs during the election period, but before the campaign period from October to mid-February?
No, Madam Chair.
And earlier. And just to be clear, the plebiscite that the COMELEC has been mentioning, does it refer to the plebiscite for the PI or People's Initiative, or does it refer to the con-ask question?
The con-ask question, Madam Chair. There's no more issue as regards the PI plebiscite because, again, we permanently, in the meantime, suspended the People's Initiative.
Yes, I think there were so many questions as to what to do with all those signed forms. The COMELEC asserted that they would not destroy them or return them to their owners, but that they continue to have a life beyond the suspension of the PI. Is that still correct? What happens to all those signatures that were submitted?
All these signatures, Your Honor, are in the possession of the local COMELEC. Nasa safekeeping lang po naman namin yun, Madam Chair. And
yes, but you did not deny that they could be used in the future, regardless of the fact that the PI was suspended, right?
Depende po, Madam Chair, sa magiging rules. Because the interpretation may be that there is really no law. So how can there be an implementing rules and regulation on the part of the Commission? And
yes,
that's why
the justices, in fact, chided the COMELEC for issuing a resolution when, in fact, there was no law, di ba?
Yes, Madam Chair, that resolution was issued in 2020 and therefore the subject to review to determine indeed if it is right on the part of the Commission to have issued such a resolution.
So as far as we're concerned, the plebiscite that is being mentioned is the con-ask.
That's right,
So, isang tabi muna yung PI na discussion na yan. Klaro tayo dyan. So, if the plebiscite and the national elections are held simultaneously, is that a single ballot? Like Minority Leader mentioned earlier.
Yes, Madam Chair. We already prepared a sample of the ballot containing at least 3 questions, which will be at the front portion of the ballot before the senators. The question will be, there will be a question and then yes or no. And our system, our machine can likewise read that before reading the votes for the senators down to the last council and the parties. Printing will happen second week of January 2025. Yes, Madam Chair.
What if the amendments proposed by the CONAS are finalized or certified after the printing?
In the event, in that event, Madam Chair, then we will have to order a reprint of the ballot. We will have to set aside.
To reprint the ballots, hindi na mahahabol yan. Mas magkakaproblema na naman sa OFW, hindi aabot ang balota.
Kasi po, Madam Chair, kung isasama po siya sa national and local, then kung ang solusyon na lang po, separate ballot na lang po para sa plebiscite.
Bill nga, I also put the validity ng signature. My lifetime si signature, my lifetime. So, the date of the first signature must be alleged and indicated. Tapos, lifetime na nung signature campaign. Pero, ang advice ko na lang sa COMELEC, since you'll be accountable for all of these papers with signatures, and then our position is there is no law or there's no sufficient law, saka ibalik na lang sa whoever gave it to you para ma-release na po kayo sa responsibility to safekeep the documents.
Yes, Madam Chair. Yun nga po yung gusto namin. Ang kumuha lang po kasi sa hamtik, sa antike, isa pa lang hanggang ngayon.
Anyway, dapat may... kasi is this an admission that the COMELEC does not even know who gave them the documents?
No, we know, Mr. Chair, because we issued the certification.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes,
May name and address.
Meron po, Madam.
Solid.
In fact, Madam Chair, Your Honor, we are actually announcing for them to get para naman po hindi magsikip sa komisyon. Basta balik nila sa amin yung certification na in-issue namin.
Kasi back to ma-misplace, then mawala, mag-i-issue pa sila sa COMELEC na kakasuhan pa yung mga COMELEC people natin for safekeeping something na there is no rule or law governing what to do with this.
That's correct. As well as the issue of certain signatories who wanted to withdraw their signatures and yet they don't have the forms available anymore.
We actually, Madam Chair, 1.5 months ago, we came up with a form for the withdrawal.
Pwedeng
withdrawin po.
withdrawin?
We actually announced that, and
Dati ano, kasi hindi alam ng tao eh.
yes, Madam Chair. So we are public now saying that those who submitted to us the signature sheets, they are free to get the signature sheets from us. Our offices are open from Monday even up to Saturday. We have an ongoing registration. Basta po, surrender po sa amin yung certification na in-issue ng mga local COMELEC natin. And at the same time to our people who signed the signature sheets, available to all COMELEC, sa lahat po ng COMELEC offices namin ang signature form. And no need to write or state the reason for withdrawal.
Oh, will the voting for the plebiscite be automated? Kasama sa same ballot,
Yes,
diba?
yes, Madam Chair.
So it will be the same vote counting machine for NLE and the plebiscite. So doesn't it require modification of the election management system? Kasi may +1 question or whatever it will
Wala
be.
naman po. Parang candidate lang po kasi yung mga questions na yan.
O program itong vote counting setup.
December, Madam Chair, and that's why yung timelines po namin, 6 months cost to manufacturing of the machine.
Con as proposals, malate. Kasi wala na tayong panahon mag-reconfigure ng machine.
Ang problem po, hindi naman po yung reconfiguration, Madam Chair, ng machine, kung hindi yung pong template ng balota po.
Template ng balota, tama. Kasi nga hahabulin ninyo talaga yung second week of January.
Chair.
Well, not last, but for today, another burning issue is the change or alleged change in the rules with regard to campaign material and the election campaign. So the effort of COMELEC to ban premature campaigning is laudable. However, the law defines partisan political activity as acts designed to promote the election or defeat of a candidate. Peñera versus COMELEC in Section 11 of 8436 as amended by 9369 clearly dictate that the person who files his candidacy will be considered a candidate only at the very beginning, at the start of the campaign period. So how does the COMELEC reconcile the proposed ban on premature campaigning in Section 118436 and Peñera? Kasi dati, prior to the campaign period, how can there be partisan activity when by express provision of law, there is no candidate yet? Is it not the very definition of partisan political activity that there should first be a candidate whose election is being promoted by such activity? Kasi nalilito tayo talaga ba upon filing or during election campaign period? Kailan ba bawal?
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. As far as the COMELEC is concerned, we already tested that during the barangay and SK elections. We declared that upon the date of the filing of the candidacies of these candidates, they are now considered candidates. Hence, bawal po ang premature campaigning. Now, nobody went to the Supreme Court questioning the action of the Commission. In-impose po namin, in-implement natin, kaya po naging napakaayos yung pong nag-conduct namin ng halalan. Malinis, na wala po nakapag-premature campaign. Kung meron po 7,000 individuals were charged by the Commission on Election, we did not proclaim 253 winning candidates because of the pending cases. Now, dito po sa national and local election,
Ang PSKE very clearly is not covered by RA 8936, no?
yes, Madam Chair.
Nakataw siya sa coverage niyan,
That's
kaya
right.
hindi natin pwedeng sabihin applicable, di ba?
That's right, Madam Chair. That's why, for purposes of the filing of the candidacy for the national and local election of 2025, the COMELEC is now contemplating as to whether we will impose the same guidelines that they will be considered candidates upon the date of the filing of the candidacy. Justice Carpio, in his ponencia in the case of Peñera versus COMELEC, actually said that it's actually the performance of a partisan political activity that makes a person a candidate. And so if you're not doing anything, then you are not technically not a candidate. But if you'll do something like, for example, going around distributing something, that's already partisan political activity, and therefore technically you are already a candidate. I think that can be the interpretation, although we are still, again, Madam Chair, Your Honor, studying our option.
Yes, there are concerns, of course, that the opposite is true, that while the law allows COMELEC to fix the election period, the campaign period is already fixed. So if the COMELEC plans to push through, the election period will start on October 1. The campaign period will still be on the second week of February. Tama po ba?
Yes, Madam Chair, that's what is provided under the Omnibus Election Code. The code said that the election period can be 120 days before the election, except as may be fixed by the or provided for by the commission. So we can declare that from October 1, from the date of the filing of the candidacy from October 1 to 8, that's already the start of the election period. But
So all
however,
election period prohibitions will apply as early as the first week of October. Is that correct?
that will be the implication, Madam
Yes.
Chair. Yes.
RA 9006, movies portraying the life of a candidate or movies portrayed by an actor who is a candidate, they're banned in the election period. So will this ban start on October 1, but before the beginning of the campaign period in mid-February? But these movies will still be allowed, movies, TV shows, radio, and so on.
Madam Chair, as far as the comment is, if in the event that we will decide that their candidate, that the election period should be moved to first week of October, all the bans as provided in the Omnibus Election Code will now take effect. Even the putting of checkpoints will already be there by October.
October.
Yes, Madam Chair.
So that is your preference in order to prevent premature campaigning.
Yes.
That's the direction of the COMELEC.
Definitely, Madam Chair.
So we're fully aware that a lot of TV, movie, and other celebrities are going to be running. It's likely that they will have TV shows and similar programs. Can they still continue hosting said shows and similar programs during the election period, but before the campaign period from October to mid-February?
No, Madam Chair.
Cannot continue hosting, even if it's their profession.
They're already candidates by that time, Madam Chair.
It's not. How about the candidates who are media and TV personalities? They will be compelled to resign as such?
That's the rule, Madam Chair, during the conduct of, during the period of the election period, during the campaign period.
We herewith recognize Senator Ontiveros, and this appears to be contrary to RA 9006, considering these candidates having been resigned only upon the start of the campaign period.
We are willing and to defend our position, Madam Chair. That's why we are seriously studying such an option.
This is a major change between the October 1 and the mid-February. Pagbabawalan mo lahat ng artista.
And the extended period is even longer than the actual campaign. October, November, December, January, February, 5 months. Ano?
3 months versus the 3 weeks,
yeah.
The few months.
So I don't know if this will be an overkill, Madam Chair. Baka pagkatapos yung taong nakafile na ng certificate of candidacy, baka yung pag mag-handshaking siya, baka ano pa rin. Handshaking lang po yung kailangan gawin yun.
Nirereklamo kayo ng lahat ng artista. Hanap buhay nila talaga yan.
The reason, Madam Chair, is because masisisi po kasi yung COMELEC. Try to imagine, Madam Chair, from October, November, December, January, and February to the second week of February. We cannot do anything. The COMELEC will just be an observer or perhaps just a fancy to we cannot really do, and we cannot implement election law simply because how can you do that when there are no candidates yet? And candidates there will only be candidates 90 days before the election and 45 days, or in the case of national position, and 45 days in the case of local positions. And ang amin na
it's a big jump from 90 days to 4.5 plus 90 days. Yes.
Is there no draft bill from the COMELEC legal or think tank on how we can change the law so that mayroon tayong, we are not only invoking the general grant of power to the COMELEC but a specific we can attempt to pass it para we capture the spirit.
Madam Chair, Your Honor, it's really just amending Section 11 of Republic Act 8436 and as amended by Section 15 of 9369. If we can just do that, then
Still have RA 9006, di ba?
yes, Madam Chair.
Oh, yan.
And of course, the Pinera case.
The future.
Can
There's also
can the chairman give that as an assignment to the legal department to come up with
Madam, yes, Your Honor, we will-
one section which draft section which
Yes.
captures the 3 laws and 1 decision?
Yes, Your Honor, we will do that. We can immediately draft.
So that you do your own thing, we also do our own thing na baka ma-capture din namin in an amendment to the laws.
Teka, there's also a loophole, I think, because December 15 is the cutoff for substitution.
Substitution.
So between October 1 and December 15, he's not a candidate. And he can carry on campaigning or doing whatever he did before, and will not be cited for premature campaigning. Is that correct?
That's our position really, Madam Chair, is that that cannot and should not happen. How can there be substitution?
So substitution, di ba?
Yes, ma'am. How can there be substitution? They are not yet candidates in the first place. So there is something wrong with that provision of law, Section 11 of 8436 and Section 15 of 9369. Substitution can only be had if somebody officially and formally and legally filed his candidacy. So how can there be substitution up to December 15 if there is no candidate yet, and candidates will only be there by February or March, as the case may be?
Yeah, pero I'm talking about the October to the December 15. Hindi pa siya nag-substitute.
Madam
Ayun. So, he gets an extra leg up of 2.5 months, ganon. It's encouraging everybody to substitute na lang. Ito yan eh. Oo, usong-uso yan sa Ilocos, nakakatipid ka ng 2.5 buwan. Para hindi ka lalapitan ng mayor at guguluhin ng barangay kapitan. Uso po sa amin yan.
That period, Mr. Chairman, is by law or just by COMELEC regulation? That period, that you file October 1 to 8 and then you can be substituted up to December 15. Is that period provided by law or just the
COMELEC can fix the period for the substitution.
in that period, right?
Yes, Madam Chair.
That's what I understand, Madam Chair.
The other thing is, what will be the criteria in determining whether a particular movie, where a candidate is an actor, or a TV show where the host is a candidate, what are the criteria to determine that it's actually premature campaigning? Some of the shows are just fun and entertainment, and they have no bearing on politics at all. What are your thoughts?
Madam Chair, when you appear on television except news or in the movie, then that is campaigning. Campaigning is
So come again?
that's campaigning, Madam Chair. If except if you are in the news because of the very nature
No,
of your
not to news po.
Yes
I mean,
po.
it's
the
just
movies po, movies.
movies or even TV shows. Katuwaan lang naman. Wala namang politikang pinag-usapan. Puro sa kasiyahan, kalokohan, games, ganun.
That's campaigning, Madam Chair. Para din po yan sa ano po, sa social media. Kasi po kung ang argument, Madam Chair, ay hindi naman sila nagka-campaign, what's the purpose of you appearing even sa social media? Sa social media, Madam Chair, yung mga TikTok, yung mga ganyan, that's campaigning. That's trying to promote yourself.
Sa'yo lang.
That's trying to promote yourself, Madam Chair.
Okay. I just like to wind up because we're very close to finishing. Sorry, but on the same topic na lang, no? The Supreme Court kasi held in the Diocese of Bacolod versus COMELEC that expressions which are principally advocacies of a social cause and not of any political nature cannot be regulated by COMELEC. So can COMELEC set forth guidelines as to what materials made by non-candidates and posted in private property are outside the COMELEC's jurisdiction? Nakailang beses na yan na yung ating mga tarp billboard sa private property, sinisita ng COMELEC, pero private property naman siya. And many of the same were made by non-candidates and placed in their own property. Paano ba yun? Will the tarpaulin be subject to the size limitations of COMELEC or not?
Madam Chair, in the most recent election, which is the barangay and SK, because of the most recent also decision affirming the Diocese of Bacolod versus COMELEC, St. Anthony versus COMELEC, the COMELEC did not touch election paraphernalia in private properties. We respected the decision of the Supreme Court simply because according to the Supreme Court, that's freedom of expression. What we remove solely, Madam Chair, Your Honors, are election materials in public places.
So kapag sinabing vote for, kahit nasa private property, walang karapatan ang COMELEC magtanggal?
It would appear so.
Kahit may iboto si.
It would appear so, Madam Chair, simply because it's private property.
No matter the size. So pag private property na sa location wise, hindi niyo napapakialaman, but even sa size limit, hindi.
The Supreme Court, Madam Chair, Your Honors, in the Diocese of Bacolod, the larger the better. In fact, because it's part of the freedom of expression, according to the Supreme Court.
If if the decision is that clear, I mean, hands off na talaga ang COMELEC as long as private property.
Yes, Madam Chair.
So ang mga vacant lots along national highways na titled, so pwede nang lagyan nila.
Provided with the consent of the private
Yes,
owner.
yes. Upon the initiative of the owner.
Yes, Madam Chair.
Okay.
The billboards will have the same application?
Well, as far as the billboards are concerned,
Kasi
subject
they're
to,
private property. We know that all the most in demand EDSA billboards, for example, are run very profitably by private individuals and corporations. Can they put anything on them?
sa regulations ng local government unit, ang mga billboards, and
Yeah,
so
but presumably, they already comply with the LGU kasi ang tagal-tagal na nakaset up ng mga billboard. So, ibig sabihin, lockdown din yan, hindi rin yan sakop ng COMELEC.
as far as the common is concerned, we will ask the removal of the billboards.
Pero if they don't remove it, sasabihin na private property, pwede lang kabitan ng maske, ano?
We'll charge them, Madam Chair. We will issue show cause orders for them to explain.
Property, okay.
Tama po, Madam Chair, pero in the case po ng
Pero yung billboard, private property.
but regulated, likewise, they will have to secure
Kasi
regulations.
bill